Okay, mine is common grading methods, and on this reading that I was doing, they talked about two different kinds. So the first part of it is, what are the four common grading methods? And those are these report card types. And then what are alternative forms of grading that the author suggests? And we'll get into those in a little bit. But the first ones, those report card grading methods, the first one is norm reference or competitive grading. So we all kind of know what that is. When you're competing, we've talked about it like a grading, there's a bell curve, and grading according to that. So it's based on the idea that only a certain number of students are going to get a certain grade. And they have to all kind of compete against each other that way. It's not the most popular just because it doesn't let each student have the same right to proving what they really know. The second is criterion reference grading, which is kind of different or completely different than norm reference because it just is based off of the criteria and how well the student has mastered it. So everyone has equal opportunity to earn the same grade. The third one is real world grading, and it can be explained well by just kind of looking at these three different areas. There's outstanding, excellent, better than expected for the first one. The second part is satisfactory or acceptable or good, and unsatisfactory or unacceptable is the last one. I remember in kindergarten, a lot of the times, even throughout all of elementary school, this would be the way they would grade participation, and would grade how we were as students, as in what we did in class. Okay, this is weird. The last one is pass-fail grading. It's very similar to the satisfactory and unsatisfactory grading because it just gives them kind of one word, summarized definition of how well they're doing. Either yes, they understand it, or no, they don't. And I think it's kind of interesting because it wouldn't ever explain what the student isn't understanding. It's just whether or not they passed. And I guess it's kind of weak as well because you don't know if they barely passed, if they did super, super great, or if they failed, if it's because they barely messed up, or if it's because they didn't do anything at all. So it doesn't tell us too much. Alternative methods are all these here on the bottom. You can see them right here. And they're just these ideas of how to structure your testing so that it's more effective and actually gets what you're looking for. So the four parts are, first, the student should be involved in the grading and kind of have a say in that. The next part is that assessment should be diversified, which means it should kind of be explained on the report card rather than just a letter grade or some kind of grade that they're not really going to understand. And then it should also, the administrator should let the teachers have more control over that. The last part was that the students need to know what they're going to be tested on and know what the teacher expects of them. And then there's theoretical approaches that are more evaluative, and they are trying to test in a variety of ways, so they come to a conclusion of what grade the student has earned by going several different routes, rather than the report card is just one quick and easy way to tell what it is, and they're done. So there's self-assessments allowing the student to be more involved with it. There's multiple grades where they have several different projects that they do or several different things, and then you kind of add them up all together and find out what grade they get. Mastery grading, I really like that. I remember in German class we had to do that. It was just, you didn't move on until you got it down. And it made sense to me because you weren't able to learn more until you mastered the basics. And so we'd have to come in and keep doing extra tests or quizzes or whatever it was to make sure we got our grades to that A level and we can move forward. Then authentic assessment, which we've talked about before, where they're applying what they've learned in class to a real life situation in the world and able to show according to performances what they've done. So that's about it. Thanks.